Alrighty, Season 2, Episode 7. Sit down with Spades. Today we have a special guest, Ryan Fitzgerald. Ryan, would you like to say anything? Hi.
Just happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
Kev? You said Episode 7, right?
Episode 7.
All right. That's
Lucky
good.
7.
Lucky 7.
Lucky 7.
Yeah, dude, it'll be a fun one. You had some good ABs today. Get in here, talk a little bit.
I wouldn't say great, but
I mean, yeah.
good for you guys.
Good for Kevin.
Yeah, you got me twice.
You're probably still hitting 450 off in your career.
Just that one day.
Just dropped it down about 20 points today.
Well, this week we have a pretty cool guest, Ryan Fitzgerald. If you aren't familiar with Ryan, he's been in the minor leagues for about 7 years now, and he's played for various teams. After high school, he started his college career at Creighton University, where he spent 4 years. After that, he landed himself on the Gary Shore Railcats in the American Independent Association. After that, that played a huge role in him getting picked up in 2018 by the Greenville Drive, which was a minor league team for the Boston Red Sox. And then while working his way up from 2021 to 2023, he played AAA for the
Worcester
Red Sox.
Worcester.
Guy's the king of Worcester.
Yeah.
And now, in 2024, he was minor league Rule 5 to Kansas City Royals, where he now plays AAA for the Omaha City Storm Chasers. And in 2025, Minnesota Twins.
Yes, as of a couple days ago.
How'd that play out? How'd that transpire?
Yeah, I mean, obviously first year being a free agent, which is fun. You know, you finally actually get to make some real money. And I went down to the Dominican Republic again this year. Hitting coach down there was the hitting coordinator for the Minnesota Twins. So he kind of facilitated it for me, and I ended up signing there. So
Nice. That's you know, things just play out when you work hard.
Can we kind of like pick your brain a little bit on kind of like the behind the scenes of all of these different levels that you've been at?
Yeah.
I think for people who haven't like been through the process, just understanding the whole journey. And I mean, there's so many different ways to go through it, and going from Creighton into indie ball and then working through the minors, like that's not the way that everyone's like, oh, that's how it's gonna go. But it's like a very, very possible way. Like you've been knocking on the door now for a couple of years, and you're one call away. Like, talk to us a little bit about all the behind the scenes that goes through every level, and the conversations and things that you have to do to kind of get there.
Yeah. Well, it was a big jump from college to indie ball.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, obviously you guys both played indie ball. Like, it's no joke. Like, it's real baseball.
Well, the American too is a little bit more experienced.
Yeah, I think average age when I was there was 28, and I was 22 when I was there. Like, I was second youngest player at the time. So it was definitely like eye opening. But having gone to Creighton, I was like, oh, D1, like I'm gonna come in here and just crush everyone, right? Yeah. Not the case. Like, I got there day one, and I'm like, that guy has like 3 kids and a mortgage, so like he's way more experienced than me. And I was definitely like, I was above my league there. I wasn't ready for that. But what was nice was my manager was like, hey, just play defense, bro. Like, we don't care what you hit. Like, just play D. Whatever you do at the plate is what you do. I was like, all right, cool. So that kind of gave me like freedom, which I don't think a lot of players have that ability to just like, oh, hey, I'm just gonna go play do what I'm good at. I was a good defender. Like, I couldn't hit for shit. Like, can we swear here? I don't even know.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, I couldn't hit, and I was like, okay, I need to change something. If I want to get to where I want to get to, like, I got to change something. I just tried to hit a home run every time I went up to the plate. Sure. I didn't know how I was gonna look. Like, I didn't know any of that. I was just like, I'm gonna try to hit a homer. Started to learn, and then you start meeting people. I met Ryan Johansson and Devin DeYoung. They both worked for the White Sox, and they got me on all the tech stuff. And like, then I started learning, like, okay, like if I do this, then that, if this and that. And I started learning kind of the intricacies of the game. And kind of, you guys are obviously doing all the pitches on the track and stuff like that. Like, I was learning all that on the hitting side, force plates and bat angles and exit velocity, stuff like that. So when I got to the Red Sox then in 2018, I spent a whole month in extended spring training. And as you guys know, indie ball guys that get picked up don't usually last. No. So my expectation was like,
there to just fill a hole.
Exactly. I was like, I'm going to be sitting in extended until someone gets hurt, and then I'm going to go ride the pine somewhere and play once, twice a week, and whatever. I'll call it a career then. Luckily, I ended up going to low A with Greenville, and they started me like every game. So I played I think 85 games that year.
Sixth spot, by the way.
Yeah.
Love
Greenville's great. Yeah, great. So yeah, I mean, again, I got there and I had a little bit better idea of like what I was doing, how to hit. Like, obviously, what was nice playing in the American though was like I was facing guys that were straight out of the MLB, AAA, AA, and then I went into low A, and like I had a little bit less experienced pitchers, and I was like, okay, like I can handle this. Like I played American Association where guys are AA, AAA experienced, some big leaguers.
Yeah.
So it was a lot easier to hit, and I felt a lot more comfortable there. And then same thing at high A. There's not really much difference between low A and high A. I think it's pretty much the same. But again, I got to play every day, which was, I mean, guys that come on in indie ball, obviously you don't get that.
No.
So I was super fortunate that the Red Sox, they saw the value in the defense, but then they started to see me actually start to hit, and I was like, okay, like this is starting to work. And then that year, actually, I had the highest line drive percentage out of anybody in the StatCast era.
Boom, baby.
Yeah, second highest was Freddie Freeman when he won the MVP. So I was like stoked about that. But then going into 2020, I was like, okay, I need to hit homers. Like I actually need to do it. So I was like, how are we going to do this? And that was when Johansson, he started getting me on bat speed and all this stuff, because I'm not the biggest guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm 5'11", 190 pounds. Like, and back then, I think I was like 180.
You do have the world record for single arm med ball throw, though.
62 miles an hour.
62 miles an
with
hour.
the 2-pounder, yeah.
Holy brother.
Yeah. But
world record.
yeah, I was like, if I can just keep that same swing and just add some speed to it, I think, and that was then, obviously 2020 was a wash because of COVID, but 2021 was my best year. I had like a 870 OPS, hit 16 homers. That was when it kind of started to take off, and obviously then AAA in 21 towards the end of the year, and then AAA again 22, 23, and then 24. But yeah, I mean, as you get older, you kind of start to, I don't know, you see things differently. Obviously your body changes, and you sometimes got to move differently and figure things out. And I've gone through that. This past year was tough. But yeah, it's I mean, I don't know if that helps with the
kind of just the idea of like always adjusting.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. Baseball is just such a game of attrition.
Mm-hmm.
It's like who's going to stick out the highs and the lows.
Yeah. I mean, you do something right, and you think you get it figured out, and it works for a couple weeks, a month, and then it just goes to shit, and then you're like, wait a minute, it's not working anymore.
Something I always tell my players is the baseball gods do not like it when you say out loud that you figured it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do not like it.
Don't ever
Never
think
say
it. Don't say it.
Just do what you're doing.
Always got to go back to the drawing.
Yeah.
100%.
Keep it simple.
100%.
Stay with what works.
Yeah.
Always look for some sort of adjustment to make.
Well, like when I was facing you today, that last at bat, I swung through like 30 pitches today. I didn't touch the ball. I was like, just see the ball. Like, I don't care what it looks like, just see the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually saw it and hit it. And I was like, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a game of adjustments.
You just got to keep the ball up against you.
Yeah.
Don't go low.
I mean, somehow you're hitting my fastballs 3 balls below the plate.
Kind of moving on here. Fitz is known for his versatility, playing shortstop, second baseman, third baseman, outfield. Just all around, just a universal role. Good glove, great bat, obviously. If you hit well, they're gonna find a place for you. Some of his notable achievements in 2019: named Boston Red Sox Organization Defensive Player of the Year, selected both midseason and postseason All-Star during his time with the Salem Red Sox, and maintained a 2.56 batting average.
Oh, let's go.
Over the last 7 years.
Over 250.
That's pretty solid.
Dude, 250 is the new 300.
Yeah, right?
It is. It
Yeah,
is. So starting off, what inspired you to pursue a career in baseball? Like what got it all started?
Yeah. I mean, I always said I think it's a generational game. It's just something that's passed down from your parents. My dad was big into baseball. His dad was big into baseball. He grew up I think a couple blocks away from Comiskey Park as a kid, so he was a big White Sox fan. And that got passed down to me. We play catch all the time. We play pepper in the backyard. I think that's where you really kind of build the foundation for guys. You were saying you guys come in for lessons and they want to figure it out in a month. It's like I mean, it'll help a little bit maybe, but like if you don't build that foundation as a kid, I don't think that's really going to help as much in 1 month.
I was literally telling. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off. I was literally telling a kid last night. He was like, "Oh, dude, like I got to be ready for the season." He just started working with us a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, "Dude, I've been training every day for 10 years, and I'm still like."
Yep.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah,
And it's not going to happen in a month.
Definitely, I think comes from family, just passed down.
So
it's definitely not a game you can pick up late.
No.
You don't hear a lot of stories of guys starting when they're 16.
No.
Mm-mm.
Can I go back on one thing?
Yeah.
Have you always played all these positions, or is that something that you kind of developed as you got onto the pro scene?
Yeah, developed on the pro scene.
How much do you think that helps with your stock and your like?
It's the reason why I'm around today. If I didn't play everywhere,
I want you to really go into that, because we tell kids all the time, like, there's 9 bats.
Yeah, it's
Find your way in the
especially
lineup.
yeah. I mean, I'm 30 years old now, and I mean, you don't see many indie ballers that started in indie ball and then got into affiliate and then played for even make it to the end of their contract. Really, they usually get released by then. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how many guys have made it through their 7-year deal and then actually get another deal in free agency. Yeah, being able to play the positions. I mean, the Red Sox came to me after 2019 when I won Defensive Player of the Year at shortstop. The farm director's like, "Hey, like, you're gonna play outfield next year." I was like, "What?" I was like, "I just won Defensive Player of the Year." Sure. And he's like, "I know," but he's like, "You're gonna play some outfield." I was like, "Whatever. I just want to hit."
Yeah.
So then 2021 was the next year, obviously, because COVID. But yeah, I started playing center field, played third base. I still played mainly short that year in 2021. But like when I went up to AAA at the end of the year, I was playing third, second, left field. Like I never really played outfield before at all, like especially the corners. Like center field's a little easier reading balls off the bat, but like it was a tough time learning left and right.
Yeah.
And if I didn't learn that, like I don't think I would have had the shot that I've had, the last 2 years at least.
That's what kind of like shocks me that no one's called you up yet, is you're such like a valuable tool.
Yeah, I think
left-handed bat on the bench that can play anywhere.
Yeah, I think for them it's just age. Like I got to do something really spectacular for them to be like, okay, like we'll look past the age. But
yeah,
I think that's what gets held against me. And
in
then
terms
obviously
of being older.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know it's a business, and they're going to give the young kid that he might be hitting 200, but they'll give him the opportunity over the 30-year-old hitting 280. Like that's just how it goes.
More money invested.
Right. Yeah, the financial investment, and that's the other. I mean, coming out of any ball, like you don't have any financial investment. There's no draft stock. Like so, your tradability is like essentially zero. It's like for them to put you on the 40-man is kind of like, well, we need him to fill the role in the minor leagues, and if we put him on the 40-man, then we have to DFA him to bring him back down, and they don't want to go through all that. So, but yeah, playing. I mean, the main thing that I've said to guys like, Ryan Moorman, for instance, right? So he like by trade he's a shortstop. Like he came up shortstop, second baseman. He went to Illinois as an infielder. They put him in the outfield, and he swings it, like really well. I think he'll be a better hitter than me if he makes it to pro ball. I think, but his opportunities will be less if he can't show that he can't play infield. So I keep telling him, I'm like, bro, like I know you're in college, and in college you don't play different positions. Like you're gonna play outfield, but like you need to be able to show scouts like I can also play the infield. I mean, Jaron Duran, one of my good friends, like came up as a second baseman. The guy's an athlete, right? He flies, so like putting him at second is kind of like stupid.
It's a waste.
But as soon as he got into pro ball, they're like, you're gonna play center field. He had never played center field before, but like the fact that he could have moved anywhere, it's like that his draft stock goes up, like playability goes up. So yeah, being able to play the middle of the field, especially second base, shortstop, and center field. But as you get older, I'm starting to get, soon I'll be over on the other side of the foul line. Just keep moving over.
We have kids that come to us all the time. They're like, "Oh, I don't pitch. I'm a shortstop. I don't pitch. I'm an outfielder." Like, buddy, you're 14 years old. You haven't even hit high school.
Young. Yeah, you play everywhere. You should.
Yeah, you're gonna be off the mound.
And that's one thing I regret too. Even like I played short everywhere I went growing up. Like that was just. And that was like you guys see it all. Oh, my kid's a shortstop. My parents were the same way. He's gonna play shortstop, right?
I played shortstop.
I play a little second base here and there, but God, I wish I had more time in the outfield. I wish I played more at third, like because I moved to second my junior year of college. Nicky Lopez played short. Obviously a great defender. Almost won a Gold Glove I think 2 years ago. But I played second, and even that was like a big shock for me because I'm like all I played was short. That's all I knew. But yeah, being able to play everywhere is like the biggest thing if you want to play pro ball these days, for sure.
So, going on, listening to you talk about, I guess, how did you handle the mental pressure of, okay, I'm coming from indie ball, I have zero leverage.
Yeah,
it's like nut up or shut up.
I think that was exactly how I handled it. It's like, I'm not even supposed to be here. I got literally nothing to lose. Like,
Yeah.
so like I can go up to the plate and I could hit 30 homers and it's not going to matter. I could go up to the plate and strike out 30 times. It's not going to matter. So then there's like, well, what pressure is there then?
Right.
So I mean, I know like as I've gone on, like I probably added more pressure to myself than I should, because I think that mentality shouldn't leave. It's like I still shouldn't be here. Even though in my head I should be here. I should have been here long ago. But like I know like optically other people, I shouldn't be here. But yeah, I mean that's kind of the mentality. It's like you got nothing to lose anyways.
So kind of moving up team to team, you kind of started to realize, oh, I do belong here. These guys do think I belong here. And in those, I guess, mental setbacks and just hurdles, how did you address it? Like, I mean, other than just like, fuck it, here it is. Like,
Yeah,
I gotta do something.
I'd say that's the biggest part of it, was that something I went through this past year. Obviously, going from the Red Sox to the Royals. I mean, in Worcester, they loved me. I got to play 5-6 times a week. Great relationship with the coaches. And, there's trust, and like that goes a long way when you're in an organization where they know you. It's like I kind of could just do what I wanted. They trusted me. I trusted them. But then I went to the Royals and like I didn't know anybody.
I just feel like you gotta
yeah, you're
show
starting from
something,
you're
yourself
square one again. It's like I got to prove myself again. I got to get to know these people. I got to show them what I can do. So that like added a lot of pressure to me. And then obviously like I didn't play to start. Like they told me you're gonna play twice a week. I was like, oh, God, I'd asked for my release. I was like, this is bad. But yeah, mentally that was like so draining for me. Like I was in a fetal position in the shower a couple times, just like please let this stop.
Been there.
Because like when you do get the opportunity and then you fail, it's like I gotta wait another week before I play again. And like obviously for pitchers that sucks too. But I know you guys, you'll pitch and you're gonna have to sit. If you don't pitch well, you gotta sit on it for a few days before you get back in there. Yeah, that was really hard for me. But I had to go back to mentally, like I've had success in the past, and you got to look at the data points that you've had of like, oh, I did this against this guy who threw this hard in this pitch, and I was successful. So like, if I did it then, I can do it now. And that was what I had to keep reminding myself of. It's like I've done it before, like a lot. So like, if you can just keep looking back at past successes, like then I can do it again.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of off that topic, but back more like being the indie ball guy coming up. What is I don't really know how to word this, but the kind of the vibe or the feeling that you get from like other guys in the org, because you're going to come across a bunch of different guys. There's some guys that are in there that go in the first round and they're millionaires and they're superstars, and then you're kind of just like coming out of the mud. Like,
yeah,
how
honestly,
do people treat you as an indie ball guy going through the system?
I had a really good group of guys when I first got in, because I went to extended, and like everyone in extended is just fighting for their life anyway.
Yeah.
So like nobody really cared where you came from. And I was older. I was 23 at the time. So like a lot of the guys in extended are, high school draft and even younger, from like Latin countries. So
16-year-olds.
Yeah, like 23 was like, I was like a dad to them.
Yeah.
Which was, in a way, I guess, nice, because I felt like I'm more experienced. Like I've been here, I've done that. I faced, better competition than they've seen. So that was fine. But then when I got to Greenville, actually, it was grindy. I think my first 30 at bats, I was like 3 for 30. And I was like, oh, I'm out of here. Like, they're not going to keep me. But then I went off, and I was like, the next 30, I was like 15 for 30. So like, it all flipped around then. But yeah, it was nice with the group I had, because we didn't have anyone that was like a big shot. We didn't have any like,
really?
Yeah, in that team, we didn't have any first rounder on the team or any second rounder, like anyone that had signed for a bunch of money. It was mostly just middle round guys. And I think there might have been a couple of non-drafted guys that had gotten contracts there. So that was nice. But I mean, as you get older and you start getting in AAA and stuff like that, then you start seeing these guys that are like, they think they're the shit. They sign for millions of dollars, and having been around long enough now, they don't really look down on me, because it's like, oh, I've kind of proven it now that I've been here for going on year 9 of pro ball. So like they know, and they don't try to fuck with you too much. But you definitely get some guys who think they're better than they are, and it's usually the guys that. Honestly, it's usually the guys that don't get drafted for a lot of money or aren't the bonus baby. I see guys, a 6th rounder, and they got a little bit of money, and then they just think that like, and then they're out, they're done in 4 or 5 years, and off to indie ball or Mexico or whatever. They can't get back, and that's how it goes.
It's tough, dude. It's tough getting into the system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else, Kev?
No, I think that's a good little piece right there. Because I've heard a lot of different stories of just the personalities and some of the egos you come across. Just kind of curious.
Honestly, I see more personalities and egos from like coaching staff.
Really?
So much of it, because like everyone, like we were just talking about, oh, you think you get it figured out and then you don't. It's not like coaches think they have it figured out.
Yeah.
A lot of them. I mean, there's the good coaches don't. The good
Yeah.
coaches are always like asking questions, and
Yeah.
they're usually like, I don't know. Like I'll go look it up and like try to find you an answer. Like I appreciate that way more than a guy's like, nope, this is the way. Like universal. Like this works
I've been
everywhere.
doing it for
Yeah, I've been doing it
25
for this.
years.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know about that. And then like I saw it too. Like when I was in big league camp for the first time with the Red Sox as a non-roster invite, there's like I don't know, maybe 10 of us, 12 of us that were non-roster invites. Like nobody, the coach didn't want to work with Bogarts and Devers and you know these big name guys because like they're the big name guys. They got all the money. It's like so like they come to me and a couple of the other guys and they're like teaching me how to field a ground ball. Like I've never fielded a ground
Yeah.
ball before. And it's like, bro, like I know what I'm doing. Like I know I don't have the money invested in me and I don't have the big name, but like you don't have to act like I've never played before. Like
Yeah, just swing your bat for me. And
yeah,
I'll figure it
yeah.
out.
They do that stuff though, man. It's like you come. Even when I went to the Royals, like they didn't put me in big league camp. I was in minor league camp, and then it's like I got all these strength coaches that are like telling me how to lift. I'm like, bro, like I'm older than you. I've been doing this for. You know, you got a 23-year-old intern that's like telling me what I'm supposed to do. I'm like, I've been doing this for 7 years.
He just read his first book.
Yeah, exactly.
On
You're telling me I'm
biomechanics.
doing everything wrong. I'm like, well, that's just not true.
Out of the different teams you've played with, how different are their developmental programs for the players?
Very different.
Very different, yeah.
Even the Red Sox, their whole program changed a lot while I was there. Even I mean, we didn't. When I first got there, and for the first few years, there wasn't really like an identity for at least for the hitters. I'm pitching, I can't speak to that, but like in terms of like the hitting development, there wasn't really like a hey, this is like what we're gonna train. Like this is what we're gonna try to be.
Mhm.
It was just the classic like oh like swing at strikes and hit line drives. Like okay, well like how do we achieve that? And then 2023 they brought in like all their driveline guys. Like the whole driveline staff is in there. And then it was like hey, here are our 4 pillars. Like here's how we train each one, and you know here's your training program for the week. And it was pretty cool how they had it laid out. Obviously I was only there for 2023, and then I was with the Royals, and then I got to the Royals and. Spring training was sick. Like their hitting coordinator Drew Saylor is like sick. Like he would set up 2 machine, and he would do 2 short legs and 1 long leg, and he put a sandbag on the long leg so that like because when you throw, for instance, like you're over here.
Right.
It's like if you just got the junior hack that just does this.
Right.
Like you're not getting this movement.
Mhm.
So he would set up like machines and like do these like sweeper slider things. It was sick.
So would it be long leg in the front?
On the side, yeah, the
On
front
the-
left. For like a righty.
So the machine would be angled
Yeah,
like
and he'd
this.
set sandbags on the long leg so that it wouldn't fall over.
That's crazy.
And so we would set up a 2-seamer with the sweeper, so it would have the tunneling basically. I mean, it's not perfect, obviously,
Yeah.
the machines are side by side, but like we would do that every morning in spring
Interesting.
training. But like
I've never seen
what's
that
crazy is
before.
like the big league team, they didn't do any of that.
Really?
Like it was because the minor league coordinator just doesn't have any, he doesn't control anything
Yeah.
out there. But like we did that every day in spring training, and I loved it. But then we get to the season and we got a different hitting coach, and then we like didn't do any of it. So it kind of changes based on who your coach is. But I think the Red Sox definitely had more of like a uniform, like, hey, this is what we're trying to go for, and this is how we're going to get there.
Kind of seems like that's a common theme if you look across the league of like what teams are consistently good.
Yeah.
A little bit more organization on that side.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to kind of just some memorable moments that you've had. Kind of just starting off a memorable moment in a specific game or event you consider a turning point in your career.
Probably say the first home run I hit in pro ball with the Railcats was a walk-off homer. Again, like I told you, I'm trying to sell out for everything. I didn't hit my first home run. Probably took at least 3 weeks to get it, but it was a walk-off homer, and like I was swinging a massive like Jim Tomei model bat too. Like I shouldn't have been swinging it, but like if I connected, it was gonna go. And I finally connected with one. I was like, wow, like that's what it feels like off a wood bat. Like that's what it looks like. I was like, I can do this. And like that was when it flipped. And I think I hit like 9 homers that year, and I was like stoked. I was like, oh yeah, I'm a home run hitter. Like,
Oh yeah.
I'm doing it, even though I wasn't really doing it, but I felt like I was. You know, like I believed it then. Like it kind of goes back to like once you do it once, you're like, okay, I can do this. And, like I think that was kind of the turning point. I was like, okay, I can hit for power.
Right. So then going on, what moment significantly impacted your baseball journey? So like that impacted you. What made it to where everybody else kind of was like, okay, this guy, we want this guy, we want.
Probably spring training 2022. I led the group Grapefruit League in OPS. I was like second or third in total home runs and second and third in like total RBIs. And I only had like 17 at bats because I was in big league camp, but you never start the games. You're always just a backup that comes in. So I would only get 1, maybe 2 at bats a game if I was lucky. Sometimes you just come in and play D, you don't even get in that bat. But I think it was a stretch of like 6 at bats where it was like homer, double, homer, single, homer. Like it was nuts. Yeah, I was just going off, and like people were like, "Oh, like maybe this guy's gonna break camp. Like he might actually make the team." I mean, that was when the COVID rules were in effect. I never got the shot. You know, I'll say that publicly. I don't have any problem saying it, but there was people internal that they talked to me and a couple other guys. I won't mention their names, but they were like, we would hate for you not to get an opportunity if you don't get the shot because they're in the AL East, and so was Toronto. And in order to go to Canada, you needed a shot. So if I was with a different team, it might have been a different story. But they're like, we can't not have a guy for I think it was 7 games of a 4-game series and then a 3-game series in Toronto. Like we can't not have a guy for 7 games. So I was like, whatever. I'm not going to risk my health for a game. It's not worth it to me.
Still in college, and they backed me in a corner on it.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm just not doing it. But yeah, I would say that spring was when I realized like, okay, I can do this. And like I had big league dudes coming up to me like asking me questions like, how are you doing this? Like, what's your approach? Like, what? I'm like, dude, like you've been doing this longer than me. Like, I've just had a good month. Like, I don't know. Like, this is what I try to do. And then people started wondering, like, because I mean, you've seen the training that I do with like the bill and like the crane scale, and like I had that. And, like, I had media coming to like watch me like warm up before I hit. I'm like, you guys really care this much? Like, holy cow! And I get interviewed. Like, why are you doing this? But that kind of gave me some validity to like, okay, like I think I'm on the right path here, and people are starting to open their eyes.
I was gonna ask. That was gonna be my next question. Was like, what kind of confidence boost was that?
Oh, huge! Yeah, it's like I mean,
step in the box and feel invincible.
Validated that like, okay, I did all the training I was supposed to. Like now I'm ready. And I started that year like I think I hit 10 home runs by May. Like I was doing it. I ended up getting hurt and whatever, but it was I'd never felt that way in the box before. I was like, you can throw anything and I'm gonna hit a home run. It was wild, that feeling.
Was that your best season so far?
That stretch before I got hurt, that was by far. Yeah, I mean, I was on pace for like 40 home runs. Like it was like it was crazy what was going on.
So before the success was coming, what was like the mindset in your training? What was like? Was it get up and grind mode? Were you just kind of chilling?
It went back to try to hit a home run every time, but now I knew how to do it. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to step in the box and try. It was like, I'm going to step in the box and I know exactly how to do this now. It's like that was waking up every day and going to the dome and hitting with my dad and then training with Bill. And I'm like, every swing was like, I know exactly how to lay this out. And obviously it's baseball, you're not going to hit everyone perfect, but like, when you put a blast motion on, you have the Rapsodo, like you take a bad swing and I can see it. I'm like, okay, I know why that happened. And then you nuke one and you're like, I also know why that happened. So like you have data points to show exactly what you need to do.
Right.
So a lot of almost like mechanical adjustments.
Some of it was mechanical. I will say I think my swing was always like good in terms of the path. Like I don't think it was like bad. I just never swung it fast. I was always just like a slow hit the ball the other way and try to beat it out to first base kind of thing. Which I mean, you guys hit when you were younger, and that was all just swing down on the ball, nom to the ball, and hit it on the ground,
keep it out of the air.
Yeah. So I mean, I was always that guy until I got out of college, really.
And you're like, hey, nobody pays me to hit the ball.
Right, exactly. It's like if I'm going to get out of indie ball or even get into indie ball, it's like I'm going to have to like hit the ball in the air and hit some doubles and stuff like that. But that was a big change for me. Some of it, little mechanical adjustments here and there. I mean, generally, I think it was just more of adding bat speed to what I already had.
Nice.
give you a little more power behind it. Probably gives you
Well, intent too. I mean, you guys with your pitches,
Yeah.
I mean, you have certain intent behind a pitch. Like
Mhm.
you guys know how that feels. Like when you have intent, it's like it changes the game.
and it probably gives you more time to decide too.
100%.
So probably you're like, I probably seemed like it got better overnight just from that. When really you're just giving yourself more time to make a decision.
Moving on. How over the 7 years, actually your entire baseball career, how have you maintained a passion for the game? And are there any specific or special ways that you keep that motivation and passion going?
Yeah, it's a good question because like passion's one thing. I love playing, and this game it's a love-hate game, man. Like you guys know, there's days you don't even want to show up to the park. You know, a lot of people, you know, if you're gonna make it to the big leagues, you gotta love it. You gotta always love it. It's like, no, that's not true. Like I do not always love it, and I know guys that are all stars that they don't always love it either. You know, they sometimes hate it, and that's just the way it goes. For me, it's trying to prove myself right. You know, it's like I've always thought I could play in the big leagues. I believed it, despite, you know, there's times too where it's like you start to question it, like, can I don't know. But then like you do something, you're like, okay, I can, and then you just keep going from there. And it's kind of this like the slow, you know, it's nothing's a perfect
roller coaster.
It's you know, here and then like, oh, fuck, I don't know, maybe, and then it's like, okay, I can do it, and then here, but like by the end of it, you know, you've made all this progress. So I just keep telling myself, keep going. Like you make an error, and I my first thing I say in my head is like, just keep going. You strike out, keep going. You're gonna get another at bat. Keep going. And it's cliche, but like it works. It works.
It does.
Just like for me to add a little point on that. Again, like I said earlier, it's like the idea of it's just such a game of attrition. It's who's going to keep going through the bad times. And I think the things that like stick with me the most, I talk about this all the time. The things that I like love most when I think back, obviously like the big moments you have where you're very successful, like that feeling is better than anything in the world. But on a day-to-day, like one of my favorite things is probably the hour and a half before the game starts, like the calm before the storm in the clubhouse, the hustle and bustle, everyone's freaking out and like, but they're like staying calm and everyone's doing their treatment, and you take a shower, get your jersey on, and you're feeling good. And then like as a bullpen pitcher, I'm not locked in.
Yeah.
I'm just messing around. But I like go out in the dugout, and the fans are all rolling in, and there's like some kind of music playing, or we've got some like celebrity coming out to throw the first pitch, and you're talking to these people, and then like walking down to the bullpen, and like I'll always have different handshakes with all of like the starters while they're out down the line warming up, then going into the bullpen and watching the starter throw. Like that I love so much. Just like that hour and a half of like the anticipation before the game starts. Like that's the stuff that I think I will miss the most when it's over.
Yeah, I mean, you playing in Mexico, they want to win.
Right? Yeah, 100%.
It's different in the minor league.
So there's a lot of pressure going on.
Like that's why I love playing the DR. Like it's game 7 every game.
Yes.
Like we're gonna win, and we're gonna do whatever it takes to win. I love playing that kind of. I mean, that's college baseball too. Like we're here to win. Like this is not developing, but that's the thing I hate about minor league baseball. It's like you don't get as much of that, jungle cat mentality.
Yeah.
Like in minor league baseball, you get a lot of zoo cats that are just like the bullpen guys. They know they're throwing. They're going to throw the 7th inning regardless of the score, and they're going to have the pitch limit, and then they're done. You know, it's like everything's just kind of planned for them. It's not just like, hey, you might throw in the 1st if the starter sucks. You might throw in the 8th. Like we don't know. You know, it's like everyone's just ready to go at any point.
I threw anywhere this summer from the 2nd inning to the 15th inning.
Yeah, and there's
every inning.
I think there's something to be said for that. You know, as a guy, you just don't know when you're going to pitch. Like, I mean, that's a jungle cat. You don't know when you're going to have to hunt. You know, it's
there was a while. This is just a little Mexico story for you guys. Our first pitching coach and manager had no clue how to run a pitching staff. They're not going to listen to this, so I'm okay with saying it out loud. In the 2nd inning, the 1st inning, if the starting pitcher was struggling, all 12 bullpen pitchers would be moving around the bullpen because none of us knew who it was going to be. Like,
you got to be ready.
No roles, no clue. It was just take a hat. Two batters tell Kevin he's in. So
that probably means one batter.
first inning, pitcher walks the first guy. The entire bullpen's moving. It was insanity. Yeah. and it's such a difficult and dude, it is.
reminds me of JUCO.
It is such a difficult environment to perform in. Like we're not.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going in and there's going to be holes in the lineup. Every time you go in there, you're seeing guys that are in their 30s. They've got big league experience. So yeah, it's different, but that's like that. That's the kind of stuff that I think makes it.
Oh, 100%.
Enjoyable.
Yeah, people care.
Yeah.
You know, when they care, that's when it's fun.
Well, what are you gonna miss the most when you hang them
That's a
up?
good question. I mean, again, cliche, but just like teammates, you know.
Yeah.
Like I've been fortunate enough to play on teams where it's been a good enough group. You know, like some teams obviously you get a couple bad eggs, but like
Oh, of course, always.
it's just I don't know something about winning a big game. Whatever it's a walk-off win or a late inning win, and then you go out and hang out with the guys and get some food, or you go to the hotel room and you play Mario Kart, like whatever it is, like that stuff. That's just the stuff you're never gonna get back. You get older, you get responsibilities, family, stuff like that. It's just you're never gonna get that again. So I'm gonna miss that probably.
I'm gonna miss the bus rides, but I think I'm gonna miss throwing a fastball down the middle for a strike.
Yeah.
No.
Sneaking one by somebody.
I will not miss the bus rides. I do not fit on buses. My back will not miss the bus rides.
Hey, as long as you got the 2-seater by yourself, you're chill.
Dude,
Well, except for you.
Yeah, you need 4.
We need 4. We need
Across the
4.
aisle.
We had 2 different buses this summer. We'd always take 2 in the one bus. And the one bus had way more room and the seats would recline, but it wasn't like recline where like now the person behind you is just screwed. It was like you could actually recline and be comfortable. And on the one bus, the 2 back seats, they were singles.
Okay.
So like I could get really comfortable, and there was another guy on our team who I had put myself on the bus, went back into the clubhouse because we weren't leaving for another hour or so, and this guy comes running in. Mind you, this guy is 5'4". 5'4".
Comes up to your waist.
He comes running at me. He goes, "You take my seat, Bobby?"
No.
I'm like, "Bro, what are you talking about? My stuff's been there. It's where I sat last time." He goes, No, my seat."
No.
I'm like, "Bro, how about you ride over the night and I'll just put you in my duffel bag?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
You want to see movie?
I'm
Good
7
luck.
feet tall. Like, please let me have this. So he ends up going at me, takes a seat. I get put over on the other bus, and so the whole time I'm just like,
No way.
how am I going to kill this man?
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Mhm.
And it's funny too that like I don't know, like I never have seen that in affiliated ball. I saw an indie
Dude.
ball.
Oh my God.
Guys who
Indie
are like,
balls.
"Oh, I got priority."
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, we're all here together.
Yeah.
Like, just knock it off.
I had
That's crazy.
my first road trip in indie ball. I had a guy move my stuff into the aisle.
It's crazy.
And he
bro.
told me, he said, "Go double up with another rookie."
Get
I said,
outta
"Bro,
here.
you're a rookie as well." He goes, "I'm a rookie too."
Oh,
I was like,
wow, yeah.
Tallest midget.
Nice, bro. Rookie too. That's crazy. That's so crazy.
Yeah. A few years in, though, you get your own seat.
Yeah. Yes.
The Beams is sitting next to the coach up there.
Yeah,
he's
nice.
chilling.
I mean, we had a 10-year-old getting his own seat this year.
Yeah, that ain't it.
First
That ain't
baseman's kid.
Yeah, that ain't that.
And then our GM son would also get his own seat.
That's rough. 10-year-old. Yeah. So, kind of moving on here to motivation and focus. I want to move on to routine and schedule.
Okay.
So I want you to kind of give the people who are listening to this, most of them are going to be 15, 16 years old. I want you to kind of tell them what your year-to-year, month-to-month, and day-to-day training routine is like, because obviously it's different between off-season and in-season. And then how long your journey has been to get to where, how long and hard it's been to get to where you're at.
So for routine, I mean, that's kind of ebb and flow. Off season, it's one of my favorite times because I don't have to go play a game and I can recover and kill it in training and not have to worry about being sore the next day to play a game or whatever. But yeah, in terms of the training, it's changed a lot. I used to be kind of a meathead. I was training 4 or 5 times a week, lifting heavy, not really doing anything baseball specific, and that was right out of college. It was just like, let's see if we can squat 405 pounds, and I was like 175 pounds at the time. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I was doing stuff like that for, I don't know, probably 2.5 years out of college. And then I kind of realized, like, okay, I need to get more specific here. And that was when I talked about, I was trying to figure out how I want to hit home runs, right? I was like, I don't think it's just going to be putting on, a bunch of mass. Like, I'm going to have to learn how to hit and do some more baseball specific stuff.
You could give Brian Shaw a baseball bat.
Right, you ain't going to do anything with it, right? So I ended up going up to the Bo Jackson Dome in Lockport, and Brett Phelan was there. He was a Cressy guy, so and I like kind of the style he had, because he was like, okay, we still want to do more hypertrophy and still put on mass and get stronger, but we're going to do some of the movements that are more baseball specific. So I like that a lot. And then obviously as I got older, I'm like, okay, me squatting more weight isn't going to change my career. It's not going to make me hit balls further and harder, but how can I get the low-hanging fruit? What's the easiest thing I can do to push the needle on my career? And that was when I started going to Bill Miller then in 2021. After that year, I started training with him. I told him, look, squatting and doing whatever, it's great, yeah, but what can I do to push the needle just 1%, 2%? He's like, I think we just do more bat speed, more baseball specific stuff. So that's kind of my lifting progression, I guess, that I've had over the last 10 years or so.
Would you almost say that baseline strength is a prereq?
100%.
But there's a certain point of diminishing returns.
Yeah, 100%. Lewis, the guy that trained Bill.
Yeah.
So Lewis, I've seen him since he was 12 years old, right? Now he's 16 in high school. When I was training and he was younger and I was a little younger, our programs looked way different, because I was 27 and he was 12. And
he's got to build that.
Yeah, he's deadlifting and benching and doing all this stuff. Still had the speed sensor on there, measuring that stuff. But with me, it was we're gonna do more ISOs and we're gonna try to be more explosive. So I wasn't trying to put up all this weight and high rep. I wasn't doing all that, because how much bigger am I really gonna get? I'm 30. It's I don't think I can do that much in an off season to really push the needle that much. So yeah, definitely baseline strength, I think, is huge, especially for younger guys. If you don't have that, forget it. That doesn't mean neglect the specific stuff. Definitely fit that in too, I think, especially when you're younger. There's a bigger training economy for that. You don't have to be oh, I only got so much time. As a kid, you got a lot of time and a lot of recovery there. But in terms of the schedule too, right now I go 5 days a week, hitting and lifting, and then Saturday usually just hit some sort of smaller lift, try to get my arms a little bigger. But yeah, recovery has been a big thing too. A lot of sauna, grounding,
handstands. We got our first.
Finally
11.
got the 10-second.
We got our 11.
I got 11. I did. Yeah, I got to 11 actually. That was huge. Yeah, I was catching some flack from some guys, so I figured I'd just knock that out real quick. But
good for you.
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, it's a lot easier when you're where I'm at now. It's I don't have any responsibility. I don't have to do any homework. I don't have to worry about class. I'm just chilling. I'm training. I eat a lot and sleep. Those are honestly, sleep and eating. That's those are the biggest things, I think, especially as kids. It's staying out playing video games and not getting. They should be sleeping 9-10 hours a night if they can.
A lot of water too.
Yeah,
a lot of water.
If you're not getting that stuff, you can throw all the other stuff out the window.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions down the road, is how important your nutrition, your sleep, and your water.
Yeah, sleep is number one by far. I'll forego a meal for sleep. Not that I have to choose, but if I had to choose, I'll sleep before I eat.
You're telling me you can't be a good hitter on 4 hours of sleep because you got a $500 bat?
Yeah, the bat's the one that'll do it for you. It's definitely the arrow, not the Indian. But yeah, no, that's something I've definitely prioritized more. I didn't do that in college. I should have. I was eating. I wouldn't say I was eating bad. I was just eating a lot, but just garbage. Raising Cane's, Panda Express, a lot of Chipotle, which is isn't the worst thing. But even the sleep part too, and it's tough in school. You got homework and you got to do tests, you got to study and all that. And you got weights at 6 a.m. and so it is hard to get that in.
And when you're young, especially college and high school, it's important to have some social aspect to your life as well.
100%. Yeah, video games have always been an outlet for me.
Yeah.
I told my girlfriend, I'm like, look, if I need to come home and play video games, I'm gonna do it. And she's cool with it. So I think having some sort of outlet is definitely
even now, that's huge. One of the best ways I keep in touch with people.
Yeah, that too. Play with guys, even old teammates, stuff like that for sure.
Yeah. Any morning rituals or pregame prep that you want to walk us through?
Yeah,
Anything goofy or
Yeah,
silly?
I'm not like a superstitious guy. I don't have anything that's like crazy. I mean, my breakfast is the same every morning. It has been the last 3 years. It's 4 to 5 eggs with the ancestral meat. I don't know if you guys with the organs and stuff in there. So I'll put
Where do you get your organs?
Whole Foods. There's
Really?
what's the brand? Force of Nature.
Force of Nature.
Force of
I've seen
Nature.
them.
Yeah, they sell
You eat them
ground up.
raw.
No, I don't, not yet. I'd like to someday, but I don't want to test it while I'm playing. But I definitely will try it someday. But yeah, I'll do that.
Can you explain this to me?
Organ meat. It's
Organ
like
meat.
super, super dense with nutrients.
I don't eat very many vegetables.
I don't either.
Like a bowl of broccoli is about the equivalent of like a couple ounces of liver.
Yeah.
From an animal.
Start buying some liver.
So I mean, not to say don't eat veggies. I think there's definitely some value there, but I just don't think you're getting as much bang for your buck.
Yeah, no. I like eating a lot of meat and rice.
Yeah,
I think the like actual like science behind it is the liver's like the body's filter.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go and like, what do cows eat? Nothing but grass, right?
That's right.
So they get all the nutrients from that, and it gets filtered through their liver,
Mm-hmm.
and then you eat the
intake
liver, and it has all the nutrients in it.
I don't know how much time we got on this podcast, but we could go on and on about that.
Maybe the next one.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't rituals. I don't really. I mean, it's pretty.
Kev, what are
standard.
your rituals?
I go ground. I'll walk around barefoot before every game.
You ground?
I ground. Yeah, I go barefoot, walk a lap around the field.
It changes week to week, day to day. I'm just like,
Whatever.
I wake up.
You
I
don't
wake
lock
up,
in until the 6th inning.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's chilling, bro.
as a reliever, I'm just like that's the one thing I love about being like you see these starters and for 6 days of the week they're one person and they come in and you like it's their start day, like they got their fit picked out and they got the headphones on and they're like I gotta have this coffee and I got this energy drink that I'm gonna crack this amount of minutes and seconds before. Like as a reliever, dude, I'm like I'm just every day's the same. Tell me when you need me. I'll be ready in 4 minutes. But like I'll like just wake up in the morning and usually have a coffee and maybe go to the gym if I'm feeling all right and try and get in the sun. I like being in the sun.
I think there's something to be said for it too. Like, I mean, if you have a routine and you do it and everything, that's great. But like, you're not always going to be able to do it.
No.
Mm-mm.
And I know. I mean, there's guys I played with that have these massive
They
routines.
get paralyzed by it.
Yeah.
And then they can't do it because whatever the timing and the cage isn't available, and then they're like, oh, well now I'm not going to be ready, and then they go out and have a shit game, and it's like, well,
Do you remember? It might have been like 3 years ago. They had Wainwright mic'd up before start.
Okay.
And he like went super, super in depth. I mean, first of all, how incredible was it that this man is in the bullpen throwing pregame pitches for a big league start, and he's mic'd up like talking about baseball.
That's cool.
That's insane.
that's cool.
But he went into this super deep. He's like, having a routine is super, super important, but you can't let yourself get paralyzed by it. He's like, I know exactly what pitches I'm going to throw, and if I throw like a bad one, I'm just going to keep going. It doesn't matter what the actual outcome is. He's like, the whole point of a routine is so you can kind of just shut your brain off and just go, like, not go through the motions in terms of like giving bad effort, but just going through the motions and letting your mind almost like wander a little bit. But he like went really in depth on it. And I remember watching it
That's cool.
right before I went into pro ball. I was like, dude, this makes so much sense. Like you see these guys that get paralyzed by their routine, and one thing goes wrong, the day's over.
Mm-hmm. That's why I loved JUCO so much, because it was a whole lot of show and go.
Yeah.
You show
Yeah.
up and go. There's no.
What do you got?
Send it.
Yeah.
What do you
And
got?
then show up to D1 and everything's more planned out. We got this and this and this and this. And to me, it's like 3 years of doing this and this and this. I got to do it. I got to have it.
Yeah.
And then, like the past 2 years, I've been kind of growing out of that a little bit. It's been a little bit better on the mound, but it's like mentally on the mound, it does. Like
Yeah.
if
You
there's
think your
something
way
I
into a
thought I
whole-
should have done before, I'm like, okay, I didn't do that the right way.
Yep.
Here I am on the mound, but it's a strike and shake. But
At this point, I just try to listen to my body.
yeah,
Like there's going to be some days where I'm going to sleep until 2 p.m.
yep.
Yeah.
You just need it.
Yep.
There's going to be some days
100%.
where I'm up and I go and get breakfast and I
Yep.
hit the gym and get outside, and then other times I'm just going to wake up and be like, I'm going to play some video games
Yeah.
for a bit.
Yeah.
Whatever I need.
Absolutely.
That's been my biggest helped so far is just listening
Yeah.
to my body.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. Okay, go eat.
Yeah.
So let's just move on to the last little bit. Advice for the youngins. What advice would you give to these boys and young athletes wanting to follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we go a couple ways with this. I mean, first of all, in like a inspirational way, I guess, don't put ceilings on yourself. You know, I was my freshman year in college. I was 5'10". I think my first weigh-in was 148 pounds as a freshman in college. Yeah, I was a little string beat.
Did you still have the same hair?
No, I mean it was long-ish, but like not
Okay,
this.
so that came.
Because I went to a Catholic school and you had to have it
that
above the
came
collar.
later. Confidence.
It was long, but not like this. But yeah, I mean, I was 148 pounds first weigh in, and I'm looking at some of these JUCO dudes at like 220, like looking like they're linebackers.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, I played over them because I was a better baseball player. You know, if we were playing football, obviously I'd be getting them water, but we were playing baseball and they couldn't hit the ball. It's like when they did, it went far, but they just didn't do it much. And I just better hitter overall. So yeah, I mean, I just didn't give up on myself when I saw this. Look, I'm like, okay, I'm outmatched in terms of physicality, but where am I better? And that's where I focused on my strengths. I was like, I'm good at this. I'm not good at that. So like, whatever, I'm going to double down on what I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
What a great point.
And I'll shore up what I can with the weaknesses and the time that I have. But like whatever I'm good at, like that's what I'm going to be. Like I'm not going to try to be something I'm not. And then you want to change who you are. That comes in an off season. That's where you can then okay, I want to
focus on the weakness.
I want to add this to my game. I want to add this to my game.
Yeah.
But like when you're in season and whatever, like you got to just go with what you have. And then the other thing, if someone want to follow my footsteps, that I would say, and this is coming from someone that got deep into tech and deep into all that, and that's where the game's at these days. Like, especially at their age, like don't get so deep into it right now. It's just have fun. It's not worth it to analyze everything and go to the swing coach and pay him $400 for him to tell you, oh, do this, do that, do this. Like, have fun with it. Hit the ball hard in the air.
Yeah,
that's it.
we have a rule for the track, man. You're not allowed to get on it until you hit 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean,
we still put it up for our younger guys.
Yeah,
but for the most part, we don't really take it seriously until we see.
Yeah, and they shouldn't.
Numbers are worth
tracking. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
I do want to say I think that might be one of the best pieces of advice we got on here is to just really play your strengths.
Yeah.
Really play your strengths.
Yeah.
That's something that I try to preach to our guys all the time is even in a bad, like you have a bad outing and it's so easy when you're young to get caught up in that moment. You're like, oh, I did these things wrong. But it's like, what did you do well and how can we continue using that to make you even better? Like for me, I got caught up in college so much. I was like, how can I throw a better slider? It's like, I don't necessarily need to. Why don't I just throw my fastball better?
Yeah.
So when I started like shifting my mindset to focusing on my strengths and focusing on the good aspects, I saw everything else kind of just start to clean up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was something I got from Johansson. He was just like, "What do you do well? It's like, pull the ball really well." He's like, so "Just do that every time."
Yeah. Why are we going to waste time
trying
to hit the ball?
It's just like simplified everything for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big thing when you can be convicted on that.
What habits and skills should young ball players try to develop at an early
playing catch? I think that's one of the biggest ones. I mean, even as pitchers, like, I mean, when I got
everyone listen to that, please, right now. Catch play.
Catch play is huge. I mean, when I got to, when I was getting recruited for college, went to a camp at Creighton. At the end of the camp, it was like a 3-day camp. They offered me, and I wasn't expecting it. Like, I went out there, home of the College World Series. I was like, oh, whatever. I've never been to a college game before. I'll just go out there and have fun. And they pulled me into the room. They're like, yeah, like, you need a shortstop for 2012. Yeah, that's in 2012. And I was like, okay. And then they're like, we really like how you play catch. I was like, what?
Can you say that again, please?
Play catch well.
I got recruited for playing catch.
I was
playing catch.
I was surprised because, like, I mean, I didn't do that great in the scrimmages we had. I think I had a couple hits. We had 2 scrimmages.
Well, you played a damn good game of catch.
Yeah, one of them was like a ground ball single, and the other was just like a line drive. It wasn't anything special. Like, oh, this guy can hit him 400 feet or anything. It was like I played good D, and I didn't make errors, and every throw was just right to the chest.
That was actually your turning point in your career.
I guess it could have been. I mean, that's not going to get you, a long career in pro ball, but like I think you said it's where should they start, and it's like play catch. I mean, if you can play catch and be accurate with it on every throw, I mean, that's where you should start. I would say
that's where I started with my dad in the front yard. I'm sure that's where you both started.
Yep, absolutely.
Key training tips, whether it be in the weight room, the classroom, or the ball field.
Weight room, I don't know. I might be a little bit biased, but explosiveness. I mean, everyone tries to move the heavy weight. It's great. I mean, I just don't think that should be the only objective. Maybe move the lighter weight faster, and then once you gain that strength, move the heavier weight faster. Obviously, best of both worlds there, but that would be probably my one thing in the weight room. Classroom, I hate school, so I don't know if I'm the best to give tips on that.
Well, I mean, you
do enough to get by.
Yeah,
enough to get by.
Just get your degree, get the piece of paper.
My parents always just told me just to pass.
Yeah, just pass. Get the piece of paper.
Yeah.
No one cares if you graduated with a 3.0 or a 3.5. It doesn't matter.
I'd lose my Xbox in high school if I had below like an 85. Yeah. Take it out the room.
I wouldn't have had an Xbox my entire life.
I guess one other tip would be with social media, and I'm a big social media person. I'm on it all the time. Like, don't buy into the hype.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much hype out there, and like it's even worse nowadays with the social media. I mean, you were talking about the TikTok team you played. Like, it's so hyped up, and I bet your team was probably like, "Oh, this is the team on TikTok."
They were,
and they get all hyped up, like, "Oh my god, they're on TikTok."
We were in the batting cage next to them pregame, and they all had. Dude, I'm so tired of the cotton candy blue thing everywhere in baseball. I don't know what. It just looks so corny.
That's funny.
But they're all in there. They've got their little boom box going, and they're passing around the mics and doing the videos, and our guys are just looking like,
yeah.
If this doesn't make you guys want to go out there and just beat the brakes off these kids, and then we got beat, and I wanted to curl up in a ball and hide.
Yeah, I hear you.
Very disappointed.
I hear you.
How can young athletes learn to handle pressure and perform well at high-stakes situations? We got to learn that at a young age.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't learn it until I got to pro ball. I'd say probably my first year with the Red Sox was when I really kind of like learned it. We had a mental skills guy that's pretty good, and I talked a lot with him about it. But I've always said baseball is just what you do; it's not who you are. And I think as a kid growing up, it was who I was. Yeah. So like, my successes and failures determined like what kind of person I was, and that'll just send you down a hole. I mean, you're screwed if that's the case, especially in pro ball when like money's on the line and it's your livelihood. It's how you put food on the table. Like, it gets tougher that way. And when you're a kid, I mean, you're still gonna get your ice cream after the game. It's not, whether you go 0 for 4 or 4 for 4, you're still gonna be just fine. And it's still the same in pro ball. Like, I value being a good friend, a good teammate, a good brother, a good son. Like, that type of stuff is what matters to me. So like, going into the game knowing I did all the preparation that I needed to do, all the other stuff is in line. Whatever happens now. So you guys talk about don't get too high, don't get too low, and that's basically what I'm saying is like, just have your values in order of what you want and who you want to be, and it's a game. At the end of the day, it's still a game.
Yeah, I like that.
That's really, really good piece. And I got way too wrapped up into that in college.
Everybody does.
It'll drive you crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being able to separate the two is, I don't think you could have said it better.
Yeah.
As a guy who's balanced life, sport, and school, like going back to that, and kind of just working in your work ethic, what's the best way of time managing? Like, what's the best way to balance all those three?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm the greatest at. I mean, I am now because I don't have to balance much. But I did obviously in college, and I know I said I didn't like school. I did well. I was on the honor roll and did all that, mostly for my mom. But yeah, I mean, college was easier because they help you. You got to go to study hall. You got to do a certain amount of hours, and if you get good grades, you can get out and stuff like that. So I think they really help you there. High school obviously is a little different. You got to, as much as I hate to say it, you got to get good grades because that's what schools want. Like you got to have the grades before you have the skill, unless you're, top 1% player, which not many of us are. So have the grades, and that gets your foot in the door. If you want to play, just do what they need you to do.
Yeah.
Stop bitching about it. Just do what you need to get done and get it done. There's plenty of time for it. You can do it, and just do it.
Last two questions here, and you kind of touched on it, but like overcoming doubt as a young 16-year-old.
Yeah, honestly, I think a lot of that comes from parents, number one, and coaches. Because, like I said, I go back to my history and data points that I can point to and say, okay, I did it here, I did it here, I did it here. As a coach and a parent, I mean, my parents, they never, when I failed, it wasn't just like, oh my God, you failed, like you're not good, like what happened? It was always just like, you're fine, you'll get them next time. Like, we're gonna train and like you're gonna be okay. Like, we're gonna be okay this next time you face so and so, like you're gonna be all right. So like I think it comes from that really, not so much the kids. I mean, if a kid can do it for himself, like he's above and beyond a lot of people for sure. But yeah, again, I think it again goes back to understanding who you want to be as a person. I mean, I doubt myself sometimes to this day. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. You're not going to be perfect every time, but is it like we said earlier? You keep going. I mean, you're not going to doubt yourself forever. And it just, you got to be right once. You're right one time, and then you're like, the doubt goes away. You go 0 for 10. You're like, am I ever going to get a hit again? And then you hit a home run. You're like, why was I ever worried about it? It's like, I'm fine. Yeah, but just don't ride that roller coaster.
Last one to finish it up here. How important is it for young kids to find a group or mentor in their into what they want?
Career path. That's another good question. I think about all the people I've met that have changed my career, and if I didn't meet them, I don't know where I'd be. I mentioned Johansson and DeYoung. If I had never met them, I don't think I'd still be in baseball. I would just be a good defender that never learned how to hit. So yeah, finding even in a friend. I mean, there's people. I just came back from California. I was best man in this guy's wedding. I met him my first year with the Red Sox, and he's stuff I've learned from him has been like off the charts. Like not even baseball, it's like life. People like that, they're just well rounded, and I can call him and be like, ask him a question about something mechanical and hitting, or I could ask him about finances or whatever. It's like people like that. You got to hold close to them, and be there for them too. Obviously it's a two-way street, but finding those type of people and people that are in the spaces that you want to be in, get to know them, get into that circle, and that's I think how you level up.
Well, it's been a good little podcast.
Dude,
I think it went
solid.
Way longer than I wanted, but
chop it up.
It's gonna be good. Yeah, it's gonna be good. And obviously, dude, there's so much more we can go into.
Yeah.
If you ever want to hop on again.
Yeah, let me know. Whatever you guys want.
But Kev, you got anything?
Dude, really, really good stuff. A lot of stuff that you hit on today are things that we've been saying. Pray to God hearing it from someone else.
Yeah.
Hearing it from someone else, someone who they know from TikTok.
Sure. Yeah. I'm a TikTok guy. If they like the TikTok team, maybe they'll like me.
Yeah, hopefully they listen.
Yeah, you want to plug your socials real quick?
Oh, and right, this guy. Wherever it's the same on all the platforms. But.
And we're Spades pitching on pretty much every platform as well. Ryan, we appreciate you coming on and
definitely
taking time out of your day to talk to us and give some good information. But,
thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man.
Other than that, we'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Peace.
Deuces.